A country where coffee is not rushed, but roasted by hand and brewed in clay pots. Where hyenas roam freely at night, and women once made up nearly a third of the national army. Where Mussolini's modernist buildings still stand, and a rusting graveyard of tanks sprawls across the capital. This is Eritrea, a land frozen in time, a place of contradictions, where silence screams louder than protest, and survival itself becomes an art. Join us as we explore the most bizarre and amazing facts about Eritrea in today's travel documentary, Country Overview. Tucked into the Horn of Africa, along the shimmering coast of the Red Sea, lies Eritrea, a country the world rarely sees, but never forgets. With a population of just over 6 million, Eritrea borders Ethiopia, Sudan, and Djibouti. Its terrain is a dramatic clash of scalding deserts, fertile highlands, and wind-lashed coastline. In the Danakil Depression, one of the hottest places on Earth, sulfur springs bubble beneath a sun that shows no mercy. But in the highland, capital Asmara, the air is cool and still, like a city caught between time zones. Asmara, often called Africa's Art Deco capital, is unlike anywhere else on the continent. From Italian cafes to Ottoman forts, it's a mosaic of colonial legacies and local resilience. The country speaks in many tongues: Tigrinya, Arabic, English, and 9 other ethnic languages, each woven into the fabric of daily life. Eritrea has no official language, every voice counts. Yet beneath this cultural wealth lies a silence. Eritrea is ruled by a single-party regime. President Isaias Afwerki has held power since independence in 1993. The country has no free press, no ATMs, and one of the lowest internet access rates in the world. Citizens require permits to travel, and military service is indefinite. But look deeper, and you'll see something else: resilience, community, the quiet dignity of a people who continue to endure, create, and celebrate. Fact number 1: the world's most mysterious military draft. In Eritrea, military service is more than a duty. It's a way of life. And once you're in, you might never get out. Unlike most countries with fixed conscription periods, Eritrea has no official end date. Every man and woman over 18 is expected to serve. And for many, the years stretch on endlessly. Young people are drafted straight out of high school. Some spend decades in uniform, not just in barracks or border patrols, but working in farms, factories, or state-run construction. This isn't just an army, it's the backbone of the national economy. Government calls it a tool of unity. Human rights groups call it modern slavery. Families are separated, futures postponed, and dreams deferred. Refusing conscription can mean imprisonment or escape. Thousands flee the country each year, walking through deserts, dodging border patrols, risking everything just for a taste of freedom. And yet, inside the country, there is little open dissent. The silence is deafening and telling. Fact number 2: where women became warriors. During Eritrea's 30-year war for independence, a new kind of soldier emerged: the Eritrean woman. By the time the final shots rang out in 1991, women made up nearly 30% of the Eritrean People's Liberation Front. Not just nurses or cooks, but frontline fighters, sharpshooters, and guerrilla tacticians. They marched through mountains, slept in trenches, carried weapons heavier than their bodies, and they fought, not just for their country, but for a place in society that had long confined them. They were brave, they were bold, and many paid with their lives. After the war, many hoped for a new dawn, one where equality wouldn't just be spoken, but lived. But while statues rose and parades marched, many of these heroines were pushed back into traditional roles. Still, their legacy endures. Children born to female fighters are lovingly called red flowers. And in markets and ministries, you'll find their daughters, strong, self-reliant, and determined not to fade into silence. Fact number 3: Asmara, Africa's hidden Art Deco capital. At first glance, you might think you've stepped into a forgotten corner of Rome. But you're not in Europe. You're in Asmara, Eritrea's surreal and stylish capital. A city born from colonial ambition, Asmara was Italy's prized outpost in East Africa. In the 1930s, Mussolini's architects filled it with futuristic gas stations, pastel cinemas, and wide boulevards lined with palm trees. Today, those buildings remain, frozen in time. The Fiat Tagliero building, shaped like an airplane, looks ready for takeoff. The Cinema Impero still glows in soft neon. Cafes serve espresso beneath balconies carved with fascist-era flourishes. This isn't just nostalgia, it's survival. Decades of economic isolation meant little new construction. The past was never bulldozed, just preserved by default. In 2017, UNESCO declared Asmara a World Heritage Site, calling it an exceptional example of early modernist urban planning. But the real charm isn't in the plaques, it's in the way locals live among history. Teenagers texting beneath Art Deco arches, grandmothers sipping macchiatos in Bauhaus cafes. Asmara isn't a relic, it's a dream, faded but unbroken. Fact number 4. The Cross-Medimber Market of Metal Miracles. In the heart of Asmara, there's a place where trash becomes treasure. Welcome to the Cross-Medimber Market, Eritrea's open-air forge of invention. Begins with noise. Hammers clang, sparks fly. The scent of burning metal curls through the air. This isn't your average bazaar. It's one of the largest scrap metal markets in Africa. Old cars turned into cookstoves. Airplane wings reforged into furniture. Bicycle parts, radio antennas, engine belts. Nothing is useless. Everything is raw material. Thousands of artisans, mechanics, and blacksmiths work here, creating frying pans, oil lamps, teapots, tools, all from salvaged junk. It's post-apocalyptic, it's poetic, it's pure necessity. Because in Eritrea, import restrictions and sanctions mean that innovation isn't a choice, it's survival. You don't buy what you need, you make it. Children grow up watching, uncles weld, women sell their goods beside sizzling charcoal forges. It's noisy, gritty, and brilliant. This isn't just a market, it's a monument to human resilience. Fact number 5. The Tank Graveyard of Asmara. Just outside Asmara lies a haunting landscape, a field of rusted steel and broken dreams. Welcome to Eritrea's Tank Graveyard. Stretching for acres, this site houses hundreds, perhaps thousands, of abandoned tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery pieces. Soviet T-54s, American M60s, war machines from every era and allegiance, left to bake under the African sun. Each rusted shell tells a story of invasion, resistance, and the long fight for independence. Bullet holes scar their hulls. Sand fills their engines. Some are stacked like monuments. Others lie collapsed in silent defeat. Locals have given them nicknames. Children climb them like jungle gyms. Tourists wander in awe, cameras clicking like machine guns. But this isn't a museum. It's a graveyard, a tribute, a warning. Because here, every tank is a memory of bloodshed, of victory, of a country that paid dearly for its sovereignty. It's one of the few war memorials in the world where the weapons themselves stand as witnesses, mute, mangled, and unforgettable. Fact numbers. The place with no ATMs and no internet at home. In the modern world, it's easy to forget what life was like before the internet. But in Eritrea, you don't have to imagine, Weiss, you can live it. There are no ATMs in the entire country. International bank cards? Useless. Want to book a hotel online? Good luck. Most places don't take online reservations. All payments are made in cash and you'll need to bring it with you. In hand, not wire transfer. Internet? It exists, barely. Speeds are glacial. Home access is virtually non-existent. Most Eritreans must travel to government-run cyber cafes, where each click is monitored and each website filtered. Social media is mostly blocked. Email access is unreliable. And streaming anything? A pipe dream. For travelers, it means stepping into a world unplugged. No maps, no mobile payments, no TikTok scrolls. For locals, it means navigating life offline, in a world increasingly online. Yet despite it all, life hums. Conversations happen face to face. Deals are made with handshakes. Community is built without apps. Fact number 7. Where metal becomes magic. In a quiet corner of Asmara lies a cacophony of fire, hammer, and invention. This is Cross-Medibur Market, Eritrea's workshop of wonders. Here, old engines are reborn as oil presses. Rusty axles become furniture legs. Even discarded missile shells are repurposed into pots and tools. It's not recycling, it's resurrection. Why? Because Eritrea's economy runs on necessity. With sanctions limiting imports and money tight, innovation blooms from scarcity. If it's broken, they fix it. If it's scrap, they shape it. Artisans, blacksmiths, and children gather daily to work among piles of metal. Sparks fly as hammers strike rhythmically against anvils. Sweat glistens. Deals are struck. Nothing is wasted. There are no safety goggles, no fancy machinery, just skill, grit, and improvisation passed down through generations. It's chaotic. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. If you ever wondered how a nation survives with almost no global trade, come here. You'll witness the answer in every tool, every weld, every flame. Fact number 8. Coffee that binds the nation. In Eritrea, coffee is not a caffeine fix. It's a sacred ritual. The coffee ceremony is an ancient tradition performed in homes, on street corners, and during social gatherings. It begins with the roasting of green coffee beans over hot coals. The aroma, rich and earthy, is fanned into the room like incense, a signal that something communal is about to begin. Once roasted, the beans are ground by hand, then brewed in a clay pot called a jabina. The brew is poured into tiny cups, not once, but 3 times. The first round is bold and strong, the second mellow, and the third is called baraka, meaning blessing. Each round represents a deepening connection between friends, families, even strangers. In a world that rushes, this ritual slows time. Conversations stretch. Elders speak, children listen. Politics, memories, laughter, all shared over sips of steaming spiced brew. Here, coffee is not about speed. It's about presence. Fact number 9. The Festival of Flames and Flowers. On the night of Meskel, the streets of Eritrea are set ablaze, not in anger, but in radiant celebration. Every September 27th, thousands gather for a festival rooted in ancient Christian lore. Meskel means cross, and it commemorates the discovery of the true cross by Queen Helena in the 4th century. Bonfires called Demera are stacked high and lit after sunset. As flames roar into the night sky, crowds sing, dance, and sway, their faces lit by firelight and faith. Women wear flowing white dresses embroidered with golden crosses. Children carry fresh-cut mescal daisies, symbols of joy and renewal. Families picnic beneath candlelight, while choirs echo through the hills. It's not just religious, it's mystical. The fire is said to burn away bad spirits, cleansing the soul for the year ahead. In a country known for silence, this night roars with life. A nation tightly controlled suddenly shines with color and communal joy. It's a rare moment when tradition and spirit burst into flame, and the whole country glows. Fact number 10. The Hyena Whisperers of Massawa. In most places, seeing a hyena in the streets would spark panic. But in Massawa, Eritrea's historic port city, it's a nightly ritual. As dusk falls and the Red Sea breeze cools the earth, shadowy figures emerge, both human and beast. Locals known as hyena men call into the dark with guttural clicks and whistles. And from the city's outskirts, the hyenas come, not to attack, but to dine. They're fed scraps of meat, sometimes from a stick, sometimes directly from the feeder's mouth. This bond began generations ago. During a famine, townsfolk began feeding the hyenas to protect livestock. Over time, a delicate trust formed, one that continues today, passed from father to son. Children grow up watching the ritual. Tourists watch in disbelief. But for locals, it's just another night shared with nature's misunderstood scavenger. It's eerie. It's intimate. It's Eritrea, where fear becomes friendship and danger walks beside you, on 4 legs and with glowing eyes. Fact number 11. The girls who vanish into special hotels. They're called special hotels. On the surface, they look like any roadside guest house in Eritrea. Small, modest, unremarkable. But behind their walls, another story unfolds. Some women in Eritrea are lured into these places under the promise of employment, as cleaners, servers, or assistants. But once inside, their roles often shift, quietly, darkly. In a country with no independent media, where speaking out carries consequences, these hotels operate in silence. Some women are never heard from again. Others live double lives, trapped between survival and shame. Locals know, but few speak. The women who vanish into these hotels rarely return to ordinary life. Their names become whispers, their stories invisible. And yet, behind every closed door, there's a life. One that once held dreams and choices. To walk the streets of Asmara is to pass these hotels unknowingly. They hide in plain sight, and they remind us, even in the most beautiful places, shadows linger. Fact number 12. Where school ends in marriage. In rural Eritrea, a girl's future is often written before she finishes childhood. Nearly half of all girls are married before the age of 18. For those without access to secondary education, the numbers are even higher. And once married, the classroom fades, replaced by chores, childbirth, and the weight of early adulthood. Education becomes a distant memory. Dreams are traded for domestic survival. Why does it happen? Tradition, poverty, and protection. Many families, marriage is seen as a safeguard. From dishonor, from uncertainty, from hunger. But the cost is high. A wedding ring can become a closed door. And in a nation where opportunity is already scarce, early marriage locks out the light. For thousands of bright young minds, still, hope flickers. Organizations and grassroots movements fight to keep girls in school. And slowly, change begins. In the voice of a teacher, in the decision of a father, in the courage of a girl who says, "Not yet." Would you delay marriage to finish school? Comment 12 if yes. Fact number 13. The most impossible visa in Africa. Want to visit Eritrea? Get ready for one of the hardest visas on earth. There's no e-visa, no visa on arrival, no fast track. You must apply directly at an Eritrean embassy. And even then, approval isn't guaranteed. And once inside the country, your movements are tightly controlled. Leaving the capital, Asmara? You'll need special travel permits. Even citizens can't freely move between towns without government approval. Photography? Heavily restricted. Internet? Monitored. Every step feels like a negotiation between curiosity and caution. But it's not just visitors. Eritreans themselves face immense barriers to leave. Passports are rarely issued. Exit visas are required. And even if you flee, the government may tax your relatives back home. A 2% diaspora tax that echoes across borders. It's a nation wrapped in red tape, guarded not just by borders, but by bureaucracy. Yet those who do make it say the silence of Eritrea is strangely beautiful. A land paused in time. And for those seeking mystery, maybe that's the point. Fact number 14. The Danakil Depression, hottest place on Earth. Imagine standing in a place where Earth boils from beneath your feet. Welcome to the Danakil Depression, one of the hottest and most otherworldly regions on the planet. This sun-scorched stretch of land lies in Eritrea's southern lowlands, dipping nearly 100 meters below sea level. Here, temperatures regularly exceed 50 degrees, 122 degrees, making it one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. And yet, life persists. The landscape is surreal, a psychedelic palette of sulfur pools, salt flats, and lava lakes. Geysers hiss, acidic ponds bubble. The ground cracks like burnt glass beneath your feet. It's part of the Afar Triangle, where 3 tectonic plates pull apart, literally tearing Africa open. Scientists call it a rift valley. Locals call it home. Amazingly, nomadic communities still herd camels across this desolate terrain, extracting salt by hand under blistering sun. It's beautiful. It's brutal. And it's a glimpse of our planet in raw form, untouched, unfiltered, alive. Fact number 15, where cycling became a national sport. Eritrea isn't just about tanks and temples. It's a nation obsessed with two wheels. Cycling is the national sport, and it's not just for show. The streets of Asmara come alive every Sunday morning with amateur races, cheered by crowds, monitored by police, and run like clockwork. The tradition dates back to Italian colonial rule, when bicycles became a popular mode of transport. Over time, they became a symbol of freedom, skill, and defiance. Today, Eritrean cyclists dominate African championships. Some, like Biniam Girmay, have gone on to win stages in the Tour de France, making history as the first black African to do so. In a country known for restrictions, the open road becomes a rare form of expression. Young boys fix up rusted bikes and cross Medibur and dream of European races. Girls train alongside them, chasing legacy and speed. And in a nation that's difficult to leave, the bicycle becomes more than sport. It becomes metaphor. A quiet, spinning rebellion on narrow streets and long climbs. Fact 16. The untapped billion-dollar treasure beneath Eritrea's scorched soil lies a treasure few talk about, one of the largest potash reserves in the world. In the Dankalia region, near the Red Sea, geologists estimate over 1.2 billion tons of potash, a mineral essential for fertilizers, food production, batteries, and even medicines. If extracted efficiently, it could bring in hundreds of millions, potentially billions, in revenue each year. But here's the twist. The wealth remains largely untouched. The Kaluli Potash project has existed on paper for years, but development is slow. Political uncertainty, infrastructure gaps, and complex contracts have kept the gold mine buried, literally. Locals walk past what could be Africa's Saudi Arabia of soil, watching as trucks pass, but little changes. Some dream of a future where this resource funds hospitals, schools, and jobs. Others fear it'll fall into foreign hands, another silent extraction with Eritreans left behind. Under the surface, the future waits. But for now, Eritrea's richest treasure is just that. Hidden. Could this be the sleeping giant of African development? Comment 16 if yes. Fact 17. The city that breathes three religions. Walk the streets of Asmara, and you'll hear three calls: a church bell, a muezzin's voice, and the echo of Orthodox chanting. In one square, a Catholic cathedral towers in sandstone elegance. A few streets away, an Islamic mosque glistens with green tiles. And tucked into the city's heart, the Orthodox churches thrum with incense and ancient hymns. This quiet coexistence is one of Eritrea's most remarkable traits. Despite its tensions and restrictions, Asmara remains a place where faiths breathe. Side by side, there's no major religious violence, no ghettos dividing belief. Instead, there's a kind of unspoken balance, a rhythm to the prayers, fasts, and feasts that flow through daily life. Here, religion is not shouted. It's woven into the streets like cobblestones, holding stories, struggles, and silent agreements of peace. In a world that often fractures over faith, Asmara stands as an architectural and spiritual mosaic. A capital not of chaos, but calm. Would you explore a city where three religions live in harmony? Comment 17 if yes. Fact 18. Where monks live in austerity. Above the clouds in Eritrea's highlands, clinging to a remote mountain peak, sits Debri Bison Monastery, a place that feels untouched by time. Founded in the 1350s, this Orthodox sanctuary is home to monks who live with no electricity, no running water, and no women. To reach the monastery, you must climb over 700 stone steps, a journey so steep even donkeys can't make it. At the top, silence rules. Monks tend goats, handwrite manuscripts, and sleep on simple mats. They eat only what they grow or receive in donations. No radios, no phones, just prayer and wind. Women are forbidden entry, not just to preserve tradition, but to remove all distractions from the spiritual path. For many monks, this mountaintop becomes their final home. From up here, the world below feels distant. Cities disappear into haze, and the noise of politics, money, and modern life fades. Debra Bison isn't just a monastery, it's a living time capsule, suspended between earth and heaven. Would you climb the stairs to a life of solitude? Comment 18 if yes. Fact 19. A port city trapped in time. Massawa, once called the Pearl of the Red Sea, now sits like a forgotten painting, faded, cracked, yet hauntingly beautiful. This ancient port city once rivaled Alexandria. Ottoman, Egyptian, and Italian rulers all left their mark in coral stone houses, carved archways, and ocean-facing mosques. The sea laps quietly at piers where merchants once unloaded spices, silk, and silver. But Massawa was nearly destroyed during Eritrea's long war for independence. Bombed, burned, and battered, its beauty was left in ruins. Today, it's a ghost of its past. Palaces are roofless, streets are silent, and yet, it breathes. Children play under bullet-pocked balconies, fishermen mend nets beside old forts, and history lingers in every breeze. Unlike Asmara's modernist glow, Massawa is the memory, the echo, the sorrow and soul of Eritrea. To visit is to see a city paused mid-sentence, waiting to finish its story. Would you walk through the ruins of a port lost in time? Comment 19 if yes. Fact 20. The country that taxes its citizens abroad. You leave Eritrea, start a new life, a new job, a new passport. But one thing follows you, the 2% tax. Eritrea is one of the only countries in the world that taxes its diaspora. No matter where you live, Europe, North America, Australia, if you're Eritrean, you're expected to send 2% of your income back to the government, and it's not optional. Refuse to pay, and your family back home may feel the consequences, from denied documents to blocked services. Why does this tax exist? The government claims it supports reconstruction and development, but critics call it extortion from afar, especially since Eritreans often fled due to war or repression. Despite international pressure, the policy remains. Embassies collect it quietly. Communities debate it loudly. For Eritrea, even distance is not escape. The state stretches across oceans, into pockets, papers, and identities. Would you pay a government tax from a country you fled? Comment 20 if you'd resist. Cost of living and lifestyle in Eritrea. Living in Eritrea is like stepping back in time, and the cost of that simplicity is surprisingly low. In Asmara, the capital, a one-bedroom apartment rents for around $100–200 a month. Utilities are cheap, around $30–50 a month. But don't expect 24/7 power. Outages are common, and hot water is a luxury. Food is fresh and local. A full restaurant meal can cost $2–5, while groceries like teff, lentils, and vegetables are dirt cheap at open-air markets. A dozen eggs? Less than $1. A kilo of tomatoes? Maybe 50 cents. Transportation is incredibly affordable. City buses cost under 10 cents, and a taxi ride across town is rarely more than $1 or $2. But gasoline is expensive and hard to find. Owning a car isn't practical for most. Internet is limited, slow, and mostly accessed through hotels. There are no ATMs, no online banking, and cash is king. Bring US dollars and patience. Safety is generally high in urban areas. Crime is low. But freedom? It's another story. Would you live in a country that costs less, but comes with strings? Type 1 if yes, 0 if no. We hope this gave you a fresh perspective on Eritrea. Like, comment, and subscribe for more journeys. See you in the next video.